Well, they say all great things must come to an end. And for Serena Williams, the countdown has officially begun. In a first-person essay she penned for Vogue, the 23-time major champion wrote, and I quote, "I'm here to tell you that I'm evolving away from tennis." Williams also took to Instagram and said she plans to relish these next few weeks, implying that the U.S. Open, which gets underway on August the 29th, will be her final tournament. And make no mistake, Serena Williams is the greatest tennis player of all time, male or female. And I think Novak Djokovic is the greatest men's tennis player ever, and Federer and Nadal are superb, and Steffi Graf had an incredible run. But nobody is close to me. The only question is where you rank Serena when you start talking about the greatest athlete in sports history. Like all sports. Like Jordan and Gretzky and Brady and Tiger and Ruth and Serena, and go ahead and debate the order. Go! 23 Grand Slams. The most in the Open era. Sheer domination against a terrific field spanning 4 decades. She won a title in 4 different decades. Her first Grand Slam at the U.S. Open in 1999. I remember that, and it was awesome. And then 10 of the 23 Grand Slams were captured after turning 30. It's incredible. 73 single titles. Think about that. 73. That's wild. 14 major double championships with her sister Venus. My favorite stat, Serena Williams is ranked number 1 for a total of 319 weeks and once held the number 1 ranking for 186 weeks in a row. Serena Williams, the epitome of greatness and class. What a story. What a ride. There won't be a dry eye in New York City when she plays her final match at the U.S. Open. Thank you, Serena. Simply the best. You don't have goosebumps, check your pulse. Aaron Rodgers was phenomenal, joining me in my SiriusXM radio show today, and I want to stress this. Aaron Rodgers talking Super Bowl, winning a championship in early August is a huge deal. The NFL better be on notice. I have interviewed Aaron Rodgers basically every single August his entire career, and we've talked about a lot of different things through the years. Oftentimes he will say, well, it's not about winning a championship, but it's a long season, and let's make sure we get everything started on the right note. No, on the heels of last year, how it ended, he is singularly focused on winning a title. And let the record show, I asked Rodgers about winning a 3rd straight MVP, 5 total, which would tie Peyton Manning for the most MVPs ever. That was the tee up to the question, and he talked about the history and how awesome it would be if he won another one, but to him, it's about maximizing these guys and finding a way to win another title. Bring Lombardi's trophy home to Lambeau Field. And look, Davante Adams is not walking through that door, and obviously it's a big deal. But the Packers are set up to start off the season piping hot. Minnesota and Chicago, and they'll beat the Bucs. They're better. And then Patriots and the Giants and the Jets and Washington before the ball game against the Buffalo Bills. The schedule is relatively easy. The defense is loaded. Rodgers is in such a good place. We started the interview talking about his happiness and why he wants to retire as a Green Bay Packer and why he loves Matt LaFleur. And yes, the improved relationship with Brian Gutekunst, which was absolutely napalmed. I mean, it was burnt to a crisp after they didn't communicate with Rodgers and they drafted Jordan Love in the first round, the worst draft pick in NFL history in 2020. And they basically told Aaron, you're done as the Packers starting quarterback. But Rodgers stressed the communication is there. The relationship has been repaired. Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur have a contract. I referenced the defense for Green Bay being excellent, the run game the same. Look, it's going to take some time. Rodgers raved about Allen Lazard, raved about Randall Cobb, likes the young receivers, really likes Sammy Watkins. He takes that group to a 13-win season, and That's my prediction. They're going to get the 1 seed. Aaron Rodgers will, in fact, win that 5th MVP. That would be historic. And yes, Aaron Rodgers in the right place heading into this season. The upside for these Green Bay Packers to win another championship. Matt Ryan also joined me on my SiriusXM radio show today and was extremely candid on his departure from Atlanta. And he's right. He couldn't go back. He didn't have it in him. And Matt Ryan couldn't have landed in a better spot. Indianapolis needs Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan needs Indianapolis. This team is ready to make a legit run in the loaded AFC. They needed a great quarterback. They needed a leader. Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. Last year, with very little talent around him, it was a struggle in terms of the wins and the losses. But I've made the case and the argument, he's got a lot of gas left in the tank. And he hasn't had a running back like this ever. He raved about Jonathan Taylor, saying, look, you see the highlights, but until you work with him on a daily basis, you don't realize the speed, the power, the smarts that he has. And he loves this receiving core, highlighted by Michael Pittman. Loves the offensive line, obsessed with Frank Reich. The defense for the Indianapolis Colts is loaded. He raved about Stephon Gilmore. And I think that Frank Reich needed this kind of leader. Matt Ryan, and we talked about this, has a little Peyton Manning in him. Reggie Wayne said that. Reggie obviously was a tremendous superstar, Hall of Famer to be, playing with Peyton Manning for all those great years in Indianapolis with the Colts. And now he's coaching up the wide receivers for Indianapolis. And how about when Matt Ryan, some of his teammates said, he's got a little jerk in him, and we laughed about that. Our friend Rich Gannon has said on numerous occasions to me, any great quarterback has a little jerk in him. Think about Carson Wentz and how things went south last year, 1 year in Indy. Jim Irsay couldn't wait to throw Carson Wentz the hell out of Indianapolis. They needed a leader. They needed a winner. They needed a warrior. Matt Ryan needed the Colts. Colts needed Matt Ryan. And I believe the Colts are going to win a minimum of 11 games and win the AFC South this season. Mekhi Becton likely going to miss the entire season with a knee injury. And this is just terrible news for the Jets. This is a former first-round draft pick, such major hopes for Mekhi Becton. And the fact that he only played in 1 game last year and he was out of shape and not in good graces with the coaching staff and worked so hard to get back for this upcoming season to help out Zach Wilson. And the fact that Zach Wilson's not going to have Becton on the offensive line, just a killer. Killer for Wilson in a pivotal year, too, where year 1, you really didn't have any kind of great vibe about the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 draft. Huge year for Zach Wilson. Jets had a phenomenal offseason draft, free agency, trades. But this is a disaster. I feel terrible for Becton, a killer for the Jets. Take 2 on a Tuesday. Bears linebacker Roquan Smith took to Twitter to announce he's requested a trade out of Chicago. And of course he wants out because it's the Bears. They are, to me, the worst team in the NFL, 32 out of 32 on paper. And they won't pay him, which is crazy. I mean, and they're treating him like he's just some random dude. Roquan Smith is a tackling machine, a team leader. This is a guy who is the heartbeat of the Bears, the best player on the team. And if the Bears aren't going to pay him, then they should trade him. Look, the Bears are a complete and utter disaster. And, you look at what Smith has done in his brilliant career. I mean, he's sensational. I mean, look at the average on 4 seasons, well over 100 tackles a year. And if you're Chicago, new brass, new GM, new head coach, and I know the new GM, Ryan Poles, said today, well, we're not going to trade him, then pay him. Pay him. This team is a mess. The fact that they didn't fire Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy a year before they did set everything back. I mean, what are you going to do? Trade him and deprive Justin Fields, the best player on his team, for year 3 when you're supposed to win with a first-round quarterback? I mean, it's all such a disgrace. I feel terrible for the long-suffering Bears fan because they have no idea what they're doing. And then Roquan Smith deserves to get paid from Chicago. And if you don't do it, trade him because he's one of the best linebackers in the entire league. Staying in the NFL, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he regrets. At the end of the day, he played not to lose in the second half of the AFC Championship in the loss to the Bengals. Told our friend Kevin Clark over at The Ringer those quotes. And look, I think that he's right. And those comments are noteworthy. And it goes noted how poorly he played. And also, let's be fair here, the Bengals were sensational en route to coming back. I am concerned, though, about Mahomes for this year. I know he's going to be fired up. I know he wants to let it rip, but, you know, not on the screen right now. No Tyreek Hill. I'm still very concerned about the running back position. The defense is not what it was. MVS and Juju, that doesn't get it done. So I have some major issues here when you look at the Chiefs for this upcoming season. Fourth take on a Tuesday, Las Vegas Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels says there's no desire to trade a running back Josh Jacobs. And the Raiders running back situation, to me, is plentiful, and I'm glad that he said that because when Josh Jacobs, a veteran, starts the meaningless Hall of Fame game, I mean, we talked about it the next day on Time to Shine. I mean, the antenna goes up. They didn't pick up the option for the fifth year for Josh Jacobs, so you're thinking, all right, maybe they're going to roll with Drake and roll with Zamir White, who they loved and they picked in the fourth round. So I think all three will have a role. I thought that was all a big-time positive. If you keep Jacobs, keep all three running backs. Listen, Derek Carr getting some balance. I still think Josh Jacobs can play football and play well for the Raiders. Final take on a Tuesday. Boston Red Sox starter Chris Sale out for the season after breaking his wrist in a bike accident. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Sale signed a massive $145 million extension for the start of the 2019 season, and he has pitched in exactly 36 games in 4 seasons since. Red Sox baseball 2022. What an absolute disaster.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.